Watch this video if you want to learn two very nice strategies to help you memorize verbs in English. Coming up. Hey friends, Teacher Prix here to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in English. Hey, thanks for joining me on another video. I really appreciate it, and if it's your first time here, please consider subscribing. Every week I post different kinds of videos from Monday to Friday to help you become a better English speaker. There are many different kinds of videos for many different levels. So if you are a beginner, for example, there is a playlist for beginners. If you can understand me well, there are many videos here that will help you. But let's get down to business. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to memorize verbs in English. Many English learners have problems to memorize vocabulary in general, okay? So I have other videos where I talk about memorizing vocabulary, but today I want to focus specifically on verbs because let's be honest, guys, we need verbs. Is it easy or difficult for you to memorize verbs in English? Well, I remember that when I was an English learner, basic, beginner, it was a little hard for me to remember and memorize verbs in English. And the strategies that I'm going to show you here are very easy to apply. You can do it alone, you can do it at home, no matter where you are. And I am pretty sure that if you do them, if you are consistent with these strategies, you are going to start memorizing verbs more easily and, more importantly, without translation, okay? All my videos are in English and most of my content is in English because I believe that you can learn English in English. So the techniques I'm going to show you here do not focus on translation, but on comprehension, understanding something, okay? Excellent. So here we go. Well, as I said, there are many things you can do, okay? I'm gonna show you two strategies, but quite honestly, guys, there are countless things you can do. You need to find what works best for you. I'm going to give you two suggestions, which I do, which I believe help students the most. This is something that I recommend my students to do, and I believe that if you are watching my video, you are my student too, VIP from YouTube, okay? So here we go. The first thing that you can do that will help you learn verbs is to learn opposites. Teacher Prix, what do you mean? Well, I imagine that you study English, right? You have a routine, you know a little bit of information, you know some vocabulary, you know some verbs. So if you are trying to learn more verbs in English, how about learning the opposite verbs from the verbs you already know? What is that supposed to mean? Basically, you are going to expand your vocabulary according to the words you already know, because then it's easier for your brain to remember that word in English because you are creating associations, you are making an association, a strong one. Why? You are connecting the new word with a different word that you already know, but the opposite. So this is something that you can use in your favor. Many English learners know vocabulary, they know many verbs. So if you start to research opposite verbs, it'll be easier for you to memorize. Why am I saying that? Because I don't know how you study. I don't know what your study routine is like, but if you are having problems to memorize verbs, specifically verbs, start by learning the opposites. Until today, I see many English learners having problems to remember teach, Teacher Prix, teach and learn. I see many English learners confusing teach and learn. They are opposites. I teach, you learn. You learn, I teach. So reviewing vocabulary and studying verbs by studying the opposites will be a much easier way to study because you will be starting, your start point is from words you already know, is from words you are already familiar with. Consequently, memorizing the opposite is a little bit easier than just studying a completely different verb that you have no reference of, okay? Here you have a reference, which is the opposite verb. So here I have some examples: arrive, leave, break, fix, repair. And here, if you pay attention, I give you two options of opposites because depending on the verb, you will have different kinds of verbs to give the opposite idea. You will have different situations because English is a very nice language. You may have different verbs to express the same idea. Buy, sell. Many English learners confuse buy and sell. Forget, remember. Pass, fail. Push, pull, send, receive, get, teach, learn, as I said, start, stop or finish, turn on, turn off, win, lose. So this is a good way for you to expand your list without studying way too many verbs, way too many lessons, okay? And this is something that you can do not only with verbs, you can do this with adjectives, you can do this with nouns, you can do this with many different kinds of words. But remember, here the focus is verb. Remembering verbs, because at the end of the day, if you don't know actions, it's very difficult to speak English. Actually, guys, vocabulary is key. Here you are studying simple present, simple past, but if you don't sit down and study the words, it doesn't make any sense studying grammar because it's going to be useless grammar if you don't know what the words mean. And as a beginner or as a false beginner, if you are watching my video, you are a false beginner or pre-intermediate, intermediate speaker. You need to have a good variety of vocabulary, of verbs. If you don't know enough verbs, your conversations will always be basic because you will not know how to express yourself. And verbs play a very important role in communication. Actions, they talk a lot about us, okay? So the first strategy that I want to give you is to learn opposites because it's going to be easier for you to memorize, okay? What do you think of this strategy? Let me know here in the chat or in the comments. And if you are enjoying this kind of lesson, please hit the like button. This really helps me know what kind of videos you enjoy the most, what kind of videos you don't enjoy so much. Yesterday I was checking the videos and seeing the likes and dislikes, and that gives me a very good idea. Okay, they liked this. I'm gonna make more videos about this, or I'm gonna make more videos about that. And if you have video suggestions, post in the comments your question or your suggestion, and I can make a video about that. As long as it's about English, then hey, you got it. Moving on. The next tip that I'm gonna give you, the next strategy, is to focus on learning verbs according to conversation subjects, topics. Here again, remember something. Everything you're doing in English is to help you speak. In most scenarios, everybody wants to speak English, right? If you want to speak English, say I. I believe most English learners are trying to achieve English fluency. So if you are trying to do that, you need to focus on learning vocabulary based on conversations, on subjects, things you want to talk about. And it doesn't matter the subject, you want to talk about it. You want to talk about many different kinds of things. If you want to do that and you need more verbs, you need to remember more verbs, and you feel like it's difficult for you, not easy, you feel like it's difficult for you to remember verbs, maybe it's time to study verbs according to the conversation you want to talk about. Because again, the second strategy is doing the same thing as the first strategy. I am helping you make associations. You are connecting the new verb with a conversation. Maybe at first you will not remember the meaning, the translation, the explanation of the verb. But because it's connected to a subject, it's going to be easier for you to focus on remembering, because the first thing that your brain will think is, oh, okay, it's about food. So it's something about food. I don't remember what exactly, but it's connected to food. So this is a start, this is a beginning, okay? This is a first step if you are trying to remember verbs more easily. So this is something that I recommend my students. Focus on conversations. No matter what you're trying to do in English, if you're trying to improve speaking, listening, vocabulary, your pronunciation, it's better if you associate it with something. If you are trying to speak more, maybe focus on subjects that will help you talk. So if you're trying to improve your listening, okay, you're not just going to listen anything, but connect to subjects that you want to understand more. So if I work in information technology, I need to listen to more audios connected to technology. Because if I want to improve my listening and I work with technology and I start doing listenings about arts, that's good. That's great. You're working on your listening. But you need to listen to more things about technology because at the end of the day, that's your life. That's what you do. That's where you need English. So remember, connect to the subject because then you will start to feel results. You will really start to feel that you understand more. This in terms of the listening. In terms of the speaking, it's the same. If you want to feel like you can speak more about sports, or that you can speak more about politics, or about science, or about history, or about law, or about architecture, you need to do exercises, to watch videos, to listen to podcasts connected to these subjects. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. But as I was saying, going back to the slide, the more associations you make, the easier it is for your brain to learn and remember new words. Moving on to the next slide, here I have some suggestions. So for example, let's say I want to learn more things about sports. If you watch the news about sports or if you watch channels about sports, you will see a lot of words related to sport. Compete, win, lose, beat, score, ride, race, swim, sprint, walk, run. These are words related to sports. Okay, and there are more words. Here I put only verbs. But if you think about it, there are more kinds of words that are related to sports. But remember, the focus here on this video is to improve your memorization techniques of verbs. So here I put a subject, and now you can think of verbs to study and to remember. Oh, I want to know more about food. Eat, drink, cook, prepare, try, eat out, bake, fry, stir, mix, blend. There are so many different kinds of verbs connected to food, connected to preparation, connected to restaurants, connected to recipes. So find the subject you want and then start Googling, start researching the verbs that you need. That will help you learn verbs more efficiently and more easily. You will save time because you're being focused. You're focusing on what you have to do, not just learning verbs. Now you're learning verbs about food, about preparation, about restaurant. So you decide the subject and then go for it. Study hard. Office, I gave another example here. Office: send, receive, analyze, discuss, present, approve, order, pay, call, respond, reply, negotiate. So these are things that you can do that are connected to the conversation, and consequently it'll be easier for you to memorize these verbs because every time you study them. And of course, that in your study routine, you have to organize the verbs. Okay, food or diet, exercising, yoga, sports, movies. And then you will make your list and start studying. Now, just writing down the verb. Okay, sports, dance, run, compete, beat, score. That's not enough. The next thing you have to do is to start writing examples that are connected to the subject. So this is something that students fail to do. They learn a new verb and then they're like, hey, that's awesome, new verb, great, I learned. But then they don't do anything about it. They just write it down, close the book, and move on with their lives. So if you are trying to really, for real, learn the vocabulary, after you discover that new word, what kind of example, quick example, can you create? Can you write with your own imagination about that new vocabulary. That's real studying. And I think that with the internet, it's so convenient to study. So convenient, but so convenient that students are not doing it because it's so easy to study nowadays. So just looking at the new word is not going to help you memorize it. It's what you do with that word that will help you memorize it and really learn. Just writing it down on a piece of paper or on your phone is no guarantee at all that you're learning for real, okay? And here, I really want you to learn to use that word. So after you decide the subjects and you write the verbs that you want to study, it's time to get your hands dirty, to really put in the work, to put in the effort, and make examples that will help you memorize that new word, okay? Excellent, my friends. My homework of today for you is, first, if you can hit the like button, I would really appreciate that. Really helps the channel. So thank you so much for liking, for watching, and for sharing. Come on. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to come back here in the comments and you are going to tell me which strategy you like the most. Okay, I want you to tell me which strategy you like the most and why. Why do you like it? By doing this, guys, I'm helping you practice your English. You're coming here, you have to think of what you have to say, of what you have to write. You're giving an opportunity to your brain to think in English, to focus on English. Maybe you're busy, you don't have time to study. So this is definitely something you can start doing and start doing today. Other than that, my friends, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow for another one. Bye-bye.